27.1% of Chester County first graders were on track for success for reading in the second grade at the end of 2021, as opposed to the 55% in our state that were on track for success. So why is Chester County spending $979,281 on SEL initiatives rather than reading, writing, and math? Rather than on books for our children? There are children in our schools that cannot bring their books home. Rather than on copies. Just today, a teacher couldn't make a copy for a student to take home to understand his lesson because they didn't have enough money for the copies. Reading is fundamental to any job you want to go into. To live and thrive in this world. It's the building block for every other subject you can learn in school. One of the functions of a school board is to oversee curriculum in our schools, so why can't any of you tell me what the SEL curriculum is in our schools? I've emailed every person on this board. I got 2 responses back. Ironically, they were not from District 6, which is my district. The response I received from one of you that followed up with me was problematic, to say the least. I'll read it for you. Go to the Chester County website or Google it, then click menu, click families. SEL should come up. These resources were developed by the district for students, staff, parents, and the entire community. I don't think this would actually be a curriculum, but rather strategies. Then he followed up with this. Actual curriculum for classes at all levels can be found at the South Carolina State Department of Education website. And I was told by this school district that CASEL, C-A-S-E-L, is a framework that the district has used to create its own SEL quick reference guide for students, staff, and teachers. How much do you all know about CASEL? And why are we using credit cards to purchase curriculum from ncyi.org on 11/22 and 11/23, which is a different SEL resource company? I specifically emailed a couple weeks ago and asked if CASEL was used and what other programs were used. This purchase was in November of 2021. Do we have curriculum or don't we? That's my question. Who oversees what the teachers are teaching our children if there's no curriculum or standard? Now I want to tell you a little bit about CASEL. CASEL revised their definition and framework to highlight the value of SEL as a weapon for social justice. The new definition emphasizes, quote, marginalization, equity, just communities, and the collective, end quote, over the individual. The new CEO says equity can be a tool to open the lines of communication, and SEL advances educational equity. There's a huge difference between equality and equity. Equality means treating all people the same no matter what color they are, no matter how much money they make, no matter where they live. Equity, in contrast, means treating some people better than others depending on the oppression that they claim for themselves. In a 2020 webinar entitled SEL as a Lever for Equity and Social Justice, CASEL executives said, a colorblind approach ignores the humanity of the people you're interacting with. It makes us reproductive of the inequities that we are experiencing in our schools and communities. The CEO at the time stated, social emotional learning must actively contribute to anti-racism. We see SEL as a tool for anti-racism. As we all know now, anti-racism is just another way of saying critical race theory, which is inherently racist. So my question is, what is being taught to our children? Why can't I see the actual curriculum from Chester County? If this much money is allotted from the ESSER funding, yet the community doesn't have a clue what's going on. The students don't have the correct amount of school books to be able to bring home. In conclusion, my name is Jennifer Breckeisen. I'm a homeschooling mother here in Chester County. My child was in school here and had wonderful teachers, counselors, and support. However, my husband and I decided we needed to make the move to homeschool in 2020. The first and obvious reason was masking. No one was going to suffocate, abuse, or instill fear into my child. The second reason was the leap days. There was a recording from Imagine Neighborhood played in a Chester County classroom or multiple Chester County classrooms as reported by the News and Reporter. It was an SEL initiative that outright lied to our children, that assumed reasons behind the then current shootings, that they were racially motivated. The recording states just 1 minute in that these things happened to Mr. Floyd, Mr. Arbery, and Ms. Taylor because they were black. I do not co-parent with the government, as my shirt says. It is not the school's job to indoctrinate my children, but to educate them in reading, writing, math, science, social studies. Thank you.